So I see like you into like, the spiritual, you into like God a lot. You feel me? So when it comes to like your brand and things you do, like explain yourself, like how did you start? What is your brand? What do you like?
So I started professionally doing Reiki 15 years ago. I opened up a store 4.5 years ago, and what I basically do is I teach people to heal from childhood trauma by removing blockages that's caused from like child molestation,
Okay.
having a disconnection from a mother or father or siblings or just family in general. Not only that, but people who've been through bad relationships and they're holding on. It's called soul ties. They're holding on to things that they need to get removed from. So that comes into the Reiki services that I provide.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna have to come over there then. You feel me?
You better come.
I'm about to come see that. Okay, for sure. Okay, I like that. I see that you got like a shop open up too. Explain to you like how your shop go, the name of it and everything.
Okay, so I have a crystal shop called pureintentsionbre.
Okay.
And inside of pureintentsionbre, I do the Reiki for adults, senior citizens, also children. I also provide chakra opening, balancing, and aura cleansing. You know what aura cleansing is, right?
Yeah, explain a little more though for them to understand what that more is.
Okay, so aura is your energy field, and basically it when you pull up to a room, you can feel it. You ever been in a room with somebody and you start feeling some type of way, and you like I ain't start feeling this until this person came.
I be feeling hot, cold. Yeah. I be knowing like I gotta get up out of here. You feel me? The stomach beat. I'm ready to go eat.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
So it just depends on what type of energy somebody is carrying. So what I basically do when negative energy has been around you or it's inside of you, I remove those blockages to help you feel better so you can move in, whether it's your love life, your career, or just in your relationships in general.
Okay, for sure. I like that. Look at you. Okay. Yeah. So I see that you be talking about like balance grow. What do you mean by that? Like balance grow?
Balance grow?
Yeah, like a balance grow. Like you got a chart. It says like balance grow.
So basically, just balancing your energy.
Okay.
And making sure like the Libra scale. Everything has to be balanced going on. So that's basically scaling what's going on with you to make sure everything is level, because if you like this and you like this, you're going to be all over the place.
No,
so bringing you on a level to where you can actually mentally, physically, spiritually feel good. So you can actually make better decisions and attract what's meant for you and block what's not for you.
Okay, I like that. Ooh, say it one more time to them. Let them see that. What's meant for you.
What's meant for you, you attract it, and what's not, you automatically block it.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about now. Don't play with that. I like that. Okay. Yeah. So, like, with these crystals, like, how did you, like, come up with them? Like, I see you got different colors, you know what I mean? What made you, like, okay, babe, I want to do this type of, you feel me, in your journey with the crystals? 'Cause, people make different type of crystals. So, what made you, this type of crystals I want to start doing?
So 2017, I don't think I told you about this. I had an injury in my left hand where I was cutting the trees because my son didn't want to cut it. So I went out there with bad energy and I was like, I don't know why he didn't cut this grass. And I ended up slicing off my 3 middle fingers. Like you can see half this finger gone.
Oh, okay. No,
so with these cuts that's in my hands, the doctor told me he was going to have to amputate my fingers and that there was no hope for my fingers. This was in 2017. I went through 4 surgeries. The last one, he was like, bad news, Bree. We can't do nothing for your fingers. They were completely black. I had to send you the pictures. So I started I started seeing things on like the internet that was talking about Reiki. And I'm like, what is Reiki? So I started to research. And I'm like, okay, so this say that I can actually heal myself. I'm about to try it. So I declined the surgery where they was going to amputate my 3 fingers. And I started working with crystals. But I also implemented the Bible. I went back to scriptures where Jesus was talking about faith and like healing. And I learned to envision seeing my fingers whole. And when I started to do that, it worked for me. And they said like my fingers wouldn't move. I wouldn't be able to write. I wouldn't be able to do nothing. And that's where it started. So it's like I learned Reiki the worldly way, and that was in 2020. That I made a business out of it.
Okay.
And I started to, I healed myself, and then I went back for other people. I went back in and I implemented scriptures because everything that goes on is through the Most High. So I wanted to make sure I taught people how to believe in their self and how to properly talk to God to get answers and know if somebody's their assignment or not. So that's where it came from.
No, that's lit right there. Okay, I like that. Hey, amen to that. You feel me? That's lit right there. Okay, for sure. So how that came, okay, so after that, when did you start saying, okay, babe, I want to open up like this company, boom, I want to start really going through it? Because at first, you know, when you first started, it'd be like you're doing little people, but then when what moment hits you to the point where it's like, I got these people?
So I started to, the more I got into like a closer relationship with God, and I started asking for truth in crystals, because of course I didn't want to do nothing that God didn't want me doing.
No, for sure.
And I started to get results. I started to see miracles. You know, my doctor started to see miracles. They had labeled me 100% disabled. And I was like, I want to help other people. I could have just took that $1,000 check and just called it one and just stopped my whole career.
No, for sure.
Because at that time I was actually working from home for American Express, and I was typing. So it's like when you think something is over and you can't make a way, it's over. It's God is introducing you into something else. So by me being a single mom of 5 kids, I couldn't type no more. So I got the short-term disability, but then that cut off. And I still couldn't use my hand. I couldn't comb my girl's hair. I couldn't type. And then eventually I couldn't come back to work, so they fired me. So, you know, I was like, well, what is it? What is it next? And the more I started to pray, I started to have visions. I started to have dreams. I started to see myself doing certain things with these crystals, praying over these crystals and asking God, what was I supposed to do? And then I started manifesting. And I just started to, you know, like money would just come from out of nowhere. And I had a dream about this crystal shop. And what I basically did was I took a tax return. I had 10,000. You know, you got 5 kids, you get some taxes.
No,
right?
for sure. Hey, telling y'all something, man. That means have some kids.
Yeah. No, but seriously, I took that $10,000 and I in the dream I seen 2365. I was driving from the post office and I seen this building that said 2365, and it was like for a lease. And I'm like, no, this can't be real. So I called the number, met with the guy. I asked him, I said, well, how much you want for the building? He said $5,000. So what I did with that tax return, I took $5,000, gave it to him. He gave me 3 months free, and then the other $5,000, I bought $5,000 worth of inventory. Took that $5,000.
Gotta stay on that inventory. Hey, that's smart right there.
Yeah, made $10,000 off the crystals. Then I turned it into 20, and then I didn't stop flipping the money till I hit 100K. So when I hit 100K, it was just lights out.
I like that. Okay. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So like with your spot over there you got and everything, how did you come up with the energy?
The Energy Oracle Cafe?
Yeah, how did you come up with that?
A dream. And it's so crazy because so what happened was I was working for American Express when this happened with my finger, and I ended up losing my job, right? That was in 2017.
Yeah.
So I opened the store, the door is 2020. So what happened was the store wasn't doing good. I was only making like $1,000. And I was like, man, like something got to give. So American Express had offered me a job back. Like you was making 25, we would bring you back in at 35, give you all your benefits. You just got to go through training. And I was like, okay. You know, I told him, okay.
No,
so I got an email later on that night and it said, watch this video before you have your interview tomorrow. So later on that night, I had a dream about a lady who had on a hat on her head. And we was in the city of New Orleans. People was on the streets and they was playing like an instrument.
No, what's up?
And basically she was showing me that she was a slave. And she was telling me you can hustle your way out of anything. Just pick your niche and just go with it. So,
I talk about them niches now, hey.
Yeah, so we was walking through the city of New Orleans and we was selling coffee. And basically she bought herself out of slavery. And I assumed that she was an ancestor of mine, right? Woke up that morning, the lady said, well, have you watched the video? And I was like, I forgot because I fell asleep. So she was like, I'm going to give you 30 more minutes. I turned on the email. It was a lady named Nicole Nakad out of New Orleans who was actually a slave who sold coffee in New Orleans. I still got the email in my phone.
Let me see. Let me see, man. You got the email on your phone?
I still
Okay.
got the same email in my phone.
Let me see. I'm trying to see that email. See what's going on.
I got the email, and I was like, wow. So it was really her showing me what I was supposed to do with the place.
Oh, for sure.
The next day, I ended up, the building owner, he was like, yeah, I don't know why the furniture man left. I don't know what I'm going to do downstairs. I was like, I'll take it. And by this time, you know, I'm 2.5 years into pureintentsionbre, and I'm bringing in $50,000 a month. So I'm like, how much? He like 10 stacks. I was like, I got 20 for you.
I'm telling you.
So I gave him that. And the more I started to go towards what was for me,
no, for sure.
I ended up going to the casino and I hit for 30 grand. So the money just started coming.
You gonna take me next time?
Coming. Yeah, we can go. I'm gonna show you the picture from that too.
All right. No, so I like that. Okay.
But yeah, we can keep talking. I'm gonna look for this video.
I like that.
I want to
Okay.
show it to you. It will
So
blow
like,
your mind.
so how do you feel like with people that's going through like mental health and going through like, how do you feel that people can find themselves again? Like, do you feel like people need to be outside to find themselves again? Or you feel like people need to just be alone with a cover over their face? Like, how do you feel?
So I feel like a lot of people are going through things mentally because they're not living up to their fullest potential. And what I mean by that, people don't know who they are. So if you don't know who you are, then of course it's easy for somebody else to tell you what you're not capable of. If you're somebody that was molested as a child, then you're still going to be carrying that trauma to where you can't love correctly, or you feel like every man or every woman is some type of way. So you're automatically projecting that energy back on yourself.
No, for sure.
And you're also attracting people that is what you're thinking. So he's like, why do I keep going through this? Why do I keep going through that? Or you could just be a natural healer and put here to not sleep with certain men or women that you meeting, but to actually help them. So if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to keep making mistakes. So I feel like it's very important that people tap in to learning who they are so they can live their fullest potential.
No, for sure. That's real. I like that. That's real. Okay. I like that. Okay. So what's next for you though? Like what your purpose is of like, man, what you all want to do? With your brand and everything.
So I'm doing what I want to do. I have started selling Reiki courses, implementing the biblical scriptures to teach people the correct way that the power comes from the Most High.
Okay.
And that we all have gifts, and that it's not witchcraft or voodoo or hoodoo for you to have a gift inside of you that you have to bring out in order to help other people. We got teachers, we got healers, we got, prophetess in the worldly is readers. I can read you with my eyes closed. I don't need cards. So it's like, at one point in time growing up, my grandma said, ever since somebody came to your mom's house, you would always tell them what they was going to do. So it's like helping people like I helped myself. Well, God helped me. So I'm going back to help people heal from childhood trauma so they can actually live an abundant life, if that makes sense.
No, that's real. I love that. That's real. Okay. So what do you give to the people that's like, the business people that's trying to like get their brand and go like, I heard you experience some stuff like what, his name was like Ryan?
Oh, yes. There was a guy named Ryan Ketchin. And that's why I was a little skeptical about coming on here because, a lot of people, they'll promise you certain things. Oh, we'll get you on a podcast. We'll start your podcast. He was offering a $15,000. I paid him $15,000. I'll show you the receipts to that. And it was always an excuse. I kept texting him, DMing him, no reply. I waited September, October, November, 3 months before I took him to court. And what he did was he filed bankruptcy so he didn't have to pay me.
That's crazy.
Very crazy. So when you are, a lot of people go through things and they run into issues like that where somebody say that they are who they are and they don't deliver. There's nothing wrong with charging your price, but just make sure you're not over here just taking people money. Make sure you're doing the work.
No, for sure.
If you can't do what you said you're going to do, at least, communicate.
Communication go a long way.
And when the person don't communicate and it's like you didn't receive $15,000, who wouldn't communicate that?
Yeah, you supposed to be, what's going on?
And then you
filing
bankruptcy, but you still making podcasts, So my thing is exposing people like that so people don't become victims how I did. Because if you file in bankruptcy, you shouldn't be talking about nobody business, but how to uplift your business. Because according to the court, you ain't got no money.
No, for sure. That's
and
real.
you haven't provided a service for me.
That's real.
Yeah, that's something that I like to talk about.
No, that's real. Okay. So how do you feel about like people like doing this? Like this last year, we lost a lot of people though. Like, how do you feel about like when it comes to people like suicide and stuff like that?
So what I really feel about suicide is people can't control their emotions. They're there for a lot of people and nobody's there for them.
No, for sure.
So mentally, if you're in a dark place and you're indulging in drugs, demonic forces are very real. And how you summon those demonic forces up is through drugs. So the more drugs you do, the more spirits you're going to see, hear, and feel.
No, for sure.
So a lot of people do it so they don't feel nothing, but then they go into another dimension where all these things are real and it's feeding their mind things that's not positive.
No, for sure.
And sometimes they do so much that they lose control of what they consume because we living in a spiritual warfare where it's between souls. It's about good and evil. And the thing is, if the devil can get you not to believe in yourself and get you into a state of depression, send a woman your way, like Delilah. Send somebody your way. and they're not uplifting you, but they might be real pretty, got a nice booty, nice face and everything, but how does she make you feel internally? If something was to happen to you tomorrow, would she still have your back, or would she be with the next basketball player?
No,
so it's
sure.
truly tapping into understanding that the depression comes from you not believing and trusting in yourself, and not having somebody in your life that can actually help you out of that dark place. Because when you get money, people come to you for that money, but who actually really care about how you feel?
That's real.
So depression to me is a form of spirituality. And when you get depressed, it's like God tells us to not be anxious about anything. We don't even got to ask God for nothing. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, he going to make a way. So when you get to being, having anxiety and depression, that's because you're trying to control situations and people that you can't control.
No, for
so
sure.
that, again, puts you into a whole nother dimension, which is not good for you. So it's very important to have somebody that you can trust, to actually talk to, somebody that's been through something,
No, for sure.
and not just listen, but actually help you out of that dark place.
And get you like you feel me. No, that's real. Okay, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Ooh, look at you. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, how do I say this? Okay, so like back to like your shop. I saw your page. I love your shop. You feel me? So like, how do like the bookings and everything? How do they come meet you? How do they come like you feel me? Like when it comes to your bookings to your everything you do, like how can we get with you?
So I have 200 clients that I see regularly, and
Okay.
I'm by appointment only, and I have a booking link on my website at the pureintentionsbre.academy website.
Okay.
And we can go ahead and share that on the screen with them.
Yeah, search key. Okay, for sure. Okay, so like, so how do you deal with like close to people in your family? Like, how did your mom, like as you growing up and stuff like that, like was your mom into you, what you into? Was your dad, or was they like kind of like, hold on, they going the other way, like, you know?
So my mom passed away when I was a teenager.
Sorry to hear
and
that too.
It's okay. This ain't the end. It's just the beginning.
No, for sure.
But my mom passed away when I was a teenager, and my mom was my God. And what I mean by that was I depended on my mom for everything. I didn't even have a relationship with God. I just knew that my mom made it happen. She has 7 kids. And my dad, he never been in my life. So that kind of affected me. And that's something that I see in other women or other men. It's like we try to figure out why this other person isn't there instead of focusing on the parent that is there. And the thing about it is it can cause stress on the parent as well as yourself, because when you're young, you don't really realize that you have everything that you need. And if another parent is absent, it's supposed to be that way. So it's like my mom always told me things about myself that I didn't understand until after she passed away. It's like I still hear my mom to this day, just keep going. Like I still see her in dreams, like just keep going, you gonna make it. She was a life path number 22 too. And like I said, I had 7 siblings. And when I got older, I went back and I pulled all my siblings' life path numbers and their natal charts. And I looked at my mom's and I looked at my dad's. And out of 7 kids, I'm number 5, and she named me after her. And I'm a life path number 22, like my mother. So my mother always believed in me. She always knew that I had a heart of gold, and she protected me from my siblings.
No, for sure.
So she wasn't into crystals and things like that. She was into God, and that was something that she grew up being into God. We went to a Catholic church, even though she probably didn't know the difference between Catholic and Christian. On Sundays, we was at Christian Life Center.
No, for sure.
So when I grew up from preschool to 8th grade at St. Joseph, I was surrounded by a lot of white kids, and I didn't know color. I didn't know perm. I didn't know weave. All I knew is that I had a class that was religion, and I just remember saying, like, I want to be like Jesus. I could tell you Jesus' life because that's what my mom instilled. So, school, preschool to 8th grade, and then Christian Life Center on the weekends. So she loved God. And the last conversation me and my mom had was she was like, you better do good while you here. She's like, I ain't going to be here forever. And I said, what you mean? Where you finna go? She was like, don't worry about that. But if you not good here, when it's time for you to go, I won't be able to come get you. And I'm like, what you talking about, Mom? Believe it or not, she passed away 2 days later.
That's crazy.
So when she passed away, that broke me. It broke me for 10 years. Like, my mom been gone 20. So it's like when she left, I started looking for love in man. I started looking for love in all the wrong places. So it's like by the time I woke up, I was 25 and I had 5 kids, and I'm looking at these kids like, who is y'all? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, for sure.
I had started like popping pills. I had got raped, had a kid, gave a kid up for adoption. It was very traumatic for me. And
No, for sure.
that is what, besides the hand, it's like, okay, Bree, you need to go back and you need to address some of these childhood wounds. And it's like, it's not your fault. Like, I had to look at myself at 16 years old. It's like, what would a 16-year-old do that don't have a mom? The only person that was ever there, like, who can just come take my mom? It just never made no sense. If I fell and bust my knee, she was there. If I needed money or I need to pay my bills, she was there. So it's like, to lose the only person that you got that protected you from your siblings. Not only did she see something special in me, but she also knew that I had a great purpose. And she would always share with me. She was like, stuff about my father, and she was saying like you, I knew you was special from the times that I had you. And she would tell me about the times that she used to talk to me. She was on her way to Lansing to get an abortion, and the car broke down on the side of the road, and she couldn't abort me. So she had to go back home. So that's how I got here. She was just like, it was just something God was telling me about you. And, it just was mind-boggling. So it's like, spirituality didn't just start with the hand, but it also was like me going to go be there for people who look for love in the wrong places, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whether it's alcohol, or whether it's drugs. We get involved in things that pull us further away from God instead of going to God and telling, letting God be that guy, that void, like, fill me up.
No, for sure.
And a lot of times we go through things so we can go back and help other people. So that's something else that I've learned.
No, that's real. Okay, I like that. So how do you feel like that people they're going through the same situation you're going through, as like they lost their mom, but they come around a man that is good for them, but they push that man away but he might still be there. Like, how do you feel about that?
So honestly, I see that a lot of times. And I've seen women with great boyfriends, great husbands, and that's where the Reiki comes from. So what the Reiki basically does is it opens you up to receive love. Because when you go through something like that, you can't trust nobody. You can't trust nobody. You don't understand. You just all over the place. And you will push people away who really love you. But if you have that energy on the side of you, you have to get rid of it. Until you do, you're going to push everybody away and attract negative friends. You might have a good man, but you got friends that's jealous of your relationship.
When we get off remember what you said right there. I got somebody you need to talk to.
Yeah.
Hey.
So those are my favorite type of people. It's like, I have the natural ability to just see. And it's like, I've been there. It's like when I prayed and asked God, I said, why did I go through so much? And he answered me. So you can actually be in the shoes and pull people out. So I wanted to talk more on podcasts so I can reach more people to let them know exactly what it is that I do. It's not witchcraft. It's not voodoo. It's not hoodoo. It's not none of that. I believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And when I do my Reiki, it's through biblical principles and me praying and me having a natural gift to be able to help you heal and talk about things that I've been through. And we laugh and we heal and we grow together and we have sessions. So it's my passion. Even though I do 10 other things, this is really what God called me to do. And with my Reiki teaching, I also help people, take my course and actually help them heal themselves and heal. You go out like I go out. Like, we all going to help the world. Like, we going to travel and we going to, fill people up with what they're supposed to be filled with and remove what needs to be removed, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. I like that. So you said traveling, though. So as you doing your journey of all this, what's the place you remember that you helped somebody at? Like, what state? Like, that you be like, I got to go back there. I love it.
Everywhere I go.
Okay.
Everywhere I go, I host retreats all over the world 6 months out the year. And everywhere I go, like, I'm always in pure intentions mode. Like, I'm always working because I love what I do, so it don't feel like work. I was just at the grocery store. And God put it on my heart to help somebody else with their groceries, and I did it. So it's like when you working for God, you never not working.
No, for sure.
And when you help somebody else, your blessings flow. So like helping people understand their purpose is like everything to me, because it makes more sense why you go through what you go through, and the more you talk to God, the more He talk back. Now, He never said that weapons wouldn't form. He just said they wouldn't prosper. So it also steps you into being more selective about who you give your energy to and who you lay down with. Before, at 16, I didn't know nothing. And believe it or not, a lot of my family, grandparents, siblings, everybody judged me. But nobody looked at it like, she was living with her mom. She had 30 days to get out the house. She had to find somewhere to live. it turned into more like survival.
No, for sure.
And instead of judging somebody in your family, you are supposed to love them, because when you're not loving them, it can make them rebellious. It can make them resent you, But in my case, I wasn't resentful. I just packed my bag with them kids that I didn't know whose they was.
No, for sure.
And I moved and I started my life over and connected more with God. And it's been, ever since I left home, it's been amazing.
No, for sure. See, a lot of people they like to run back home because they feel like that's where it's at, because they feel like the new place that they ain't it ain't developed yet. It just ain't developed for them yet. Exactly. But they gotta be patient. You know what I mean? So I always tell people I like that. Okay, for sure. Yeah. So I got another. Okay, so what is something that's on your top list that you ain't did yet that you want to do? It could be anything. It could be jet skiing somewhere.
Open a shelter.
Open a shelter. Okay.
I've jet skied before. I want to put 50% of what I make back into. I want my own shelter. I want my own women, not even just women, like single fathers and single mothers, where I basically do all day school clothes for them, all day school shopping, put them in a transitional program like I was in. We didn't talk about this, but when I left home and I was in an abusive relationship, I lived in a shelter. Okay. And it was really crazy because I was doing internship back at home in Battle Creek at a shelter, but the tables turned real quick. So by me, giving these women extra bars of soap, seeing their kids, giving them extra food on their plate, never in a million years would I thought that I was in that situation.
No, for sure.
And, I was in an abusive relationship with a guy for 2 years, and I was like, I must be the problem. I got all these kids, different baby daddies. Let me just sit here for a minute. No, and I was getting beat, and it was just one day he had hit me so bad that he hit me right here, and it swelled up my whole face. And I told my cousin, I said, I'm tired. And she's like, where you gonna go? I said, I don't know, take me to the Greyhound. And I moved to Texas, Houston, Texas, and I lived in a shelter.
No, for sure.
So literally, I want that same type of shelter, because it was a 3-month transitional program. They look at your credit. They help you with clothes. They look at your schooling. Your kids stay on base.
No, for sure.
And then they give you a Section 8 voucher for 2 years for you to actually get where you need to get. So that's something that I haven't had, and that's something that I dream of, and it's something that I do know that I'm going to do. And I don't need grants. I don't need loans. I know that once the world actually feel my energy and see what it is that I'm doing, then I will be able to generate that revenue so I can start that shelter and then, buy houses and, put them in Section 8 housing for themselves and kind of monitor them. Not just give them the voucher, but make them check in. Make sure they don't got a man living in their house that's molesting their kids, making sure they stand on the right track.
Nah, for sure. Okay, I love that. Okay, so what can they find you at?
So you can Google me. My name is Pure Intentions Bree. My website is pureintentionsbre.academy. Google me. I'll pop up. My assistants will get back to you. It's not going to be me that's going to reach out to you directly. So if you reach out to me on Instagram, it's Pure Intentions Bree. You can shoot me a DM and somebody will get back to you.
Who you came to come catch the vibe with?
I came to catch a vibe with Lade.
Who you came to come catch the vibe with?
I came to catch a vibe with you, babe.
Y'all know what's going on, man. Come catch the vibe with Lade, man.